The morning mist hung low over the Norfolk countryside as Catherine, Princess of Wales, stepped out onto the frost-covered grounds of Sandringham estate. Her breath formed small clouds in the crisp December air as she pulled her wool coat tighter around her shoulders. The estate, which had been home to 4 generations of British royals during the Christmas season, felt different this year. There was an electricity in the air, a sense that this holiday gathering would be remembered for years to come. Inside the Georgian mansion, Prince William was already awake, reviewing the day's schedule with his private secretary. The windows of the morning room offered a perfect view of the ancient oak trees that dotted the property, their bare branches reaching toward a pale winter sky. He had spent countless Christmases here as a child, running through these same hallways with Prince Harry, their laughter echoing off the high ceilings. Now, as a father himself, he was creating new memories with his own children. The decision to share details about their Christmas plans had not been made lightly. Both William and Catherine understood the public's fascination with royal traditions, especially during the holiday season. For decades, the Christmas gathering at Sandringham had been shrouded in privacy, with only brief glimpses offered to the outside world. This year, however, felt different. The royal family had weathered significant challenges, and there was a collective desire to reconnect with the people who had supported them through difficult times. Catherine walked back toward the house, her footsteps crunching softly on the gravel path. She paused at the kitchen garden, where even in winter, hardy vegetables continued to grow. The estate's commitment to sustainability had always impressed her, and she often drew inspiration from these grounds for her own environmental initiatives. Today, she was thinking about how to incorporate some of these elements into the story they would share with the public. The breakfast room was already bustling with activity when she entered. Staff members moved efficiently, preparing for what would be a busy day of coordinating the royal Christmas celebrations. The long mahogany table was set with the family's everyday china, a far cry from the formal state dinners that took place at Buckingham Palace. Here at Sandringham, the atmosphere was more relaxed, more genuinely familial. William joined his wife, carrying a steaming cup of tea and a folder of papers. They had agreed to meet early this morning to discuss the statement they would release later in the day. The communications team had prepared several drafts, but both William and Catherine felt strongly that the message should come directly from them in their own words. They wanted to share something meaningful, something that would give people a genuine insight into their family's Christmas traditions. "The children are already asking about the Christmas tree," Catherine said, settling into her chair beside the window. "George wants to help with the decorations again this year, just like his great-grandmother used to do." The reference to Queen Elizabeth II brought a moment of quiet reflection. This would be the second Christmas without her presence. And while the family had adapted to new traditions, her memory remained woven into every aspect of the celebration. William nodded, understanding the weight of continuing these cherished customs while also making them their own. "I think people would appreciate hearing about how we're keeping some of the older traditions alive while creating new ones for our children," he said. The couple had spent considerable time discussing how to balance respect for the past with their vision for the future of the monarchy. The conversation turned to the practical aspects of their Christmas celebration. Unlike many families, their guest list included not just immediate family members, but also staff members who had become like family over the years. The Sandringham Christmas had always been known for its inclusivity, with long-serving employees invited to join in various celebrations throughout the holiday period. Catherine mentioned her plans to continue the tradition of gift-giving on Christmas Eve, following the German custom that had been adopted by Queen Victoria and Prince Albert generations earlier. "The children love the anticipation," she explained. "It's wonderful to see them getting excited about giving presents to their cousins and grandparents, not just receiving them. This emphasis on giving rather than receiving had become increasingly important to both parents as they raised their children in the unique circumstances of royal life. The estate itself had been transformed over the past week in preparation for the celebrations. The main drawing room now housed a magnificent Norway spruce, carefully selected from the estate's own grounds. The tree stood nearly 12 feet tall, its branches waiting to be adorned with ornaments that had been collected by the royal family over decades. Some decorations were priceless antiques, while others were simple crafts made by royal children in years past. William shared his memories of helping his father, now King Charles III, select the perfect tree each year. "He taught me to look for the tree that seemed to have the most character," William recalled. "Not necessarily the most perfectly shaped one, but the one with personality." This lesson had stayed with him, and he now passed the same wisdom on to his own children during their annual tree selection walk. The couple discussed how the week leading up to Christmas would unfold. There would be the traditional Christmas Eve church service at St. Mary Magdalene, where locals and visitors alike would gather to catch a glimpse of the royal family. Catherine had always been struck by the warmth of the Norfolk community, how they had embraced the royal presence without making it feel intrusive. "I love that the children get to experience a more normal Christmas here," Catherine reflected. "They can run around the grounds, play with their cousins, and just be children without quite so much formality." The contrast with their London life was significant, and both parents valued these opportunities for their children to experience a different pace of life. The morning sun had climbed higher, casting long shadows across the estate grounds. From their position in the breakfast room, they could see staff members beginning to prepare the outdoor areas for various Christmas activities. The tennis court had been cleared for games, and the lake was being checked for ice thickness in case the weather turned cold enough for skating. Their conversation was interrupted by the arrival of their children's voices echoing down the hallway. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis had finished their morning lessons and were eager to explore the grounds. The tutors who traveled with them during school holidays had adapted the curriculum to incorporate the history and traditions of Sandringham, making their education feel more connected to their heritage. William and Catherine exchanged a look that spoke of shared understanding. These moments, when their children's excitement filled the historic halls, reminded them why preserving and sharing these traditions mattered so much. They weren't just maintaining customs for the sake of protocol, they were creating meaningful experiences for the next generation while allowing the public to feel connected to these human moments. As the morning progressed, they finalized their decision about what to share with the public. Their statement would focus on the joy of family traditions, the importance of community during the holiday season, and their gratitude for the support they had received throughout a challenging year. They wanted people to understand that behind the formal titles and public duties, they were parents who cherished the same simple pleasures that families everywhere enjoyed during Christmas. The couple spent time reviewing photographs that might accompany their statement. Images of previous Sandringham Christmases showed generations of royals engaged in everyday activities, walking dogs, playing games, attending church services. These pictures told a story of continuity and change, showing how the essence of family celebration remained constant even as individual family members and circumstances evolved. Catherine suggested including details about their Christmas Day routine, particularly the morning walk to church that had become such an iconic part of the royal Christmas tradition. "People seem to enjoy seeing us as a normal family," she observed. "Even if our circumstances are unusual, the feelings we experience during the holidays are universal." This insight had guided many of their public communications, helping them find ways to connect with people despite the unique nature of their position. The planning continued as they considered how to balance sharing personal details with maintaining appropriate privacy. They wanted to give people a genuine glimpse into their family life without compromising the intimate moments that needed to remain private. This balance had become increasingly important as their children grew older and more aware of public interest in their activities. The afternoon brought a flurry of activity as family members began arriving at Sandringham Estate. The circular driveway filled with cars as various members of the royal family made their way to Norfolk for the Christmas gathering. Catherine watched from the library window as each arrival brought excited greetings and warm embraces. The informal atmosphere of Sandringham seemed to transform even the most reserved family members into relaxed versions of themselves. King Charles III arrived with Queen Camilla, their car pulling up to the main entrance where William waited to greet them. The king's face showed genuine pleasure as he stepped onto the familiar gravel, breathing in the crisp Norfolk air that held so many memories for him. This estate had been his refuge during difficult times, and seeing his son's family continuing the traditions here brought him visible joy. Princess Anne's arrival created a stir of excitement among the children, who had always been particularly fond of their straightforward aunt. She emerged from her car with her characteristic efficiency, immediately engaging in animated conversation with the young princes and princess who had rushed out to meet her. Her no-nonsense approach to royal duties had always been balanced by genuine warmth toward family members, especially the younger generation. Catherine moved through the house, checking on preparations while observing the natural interactions between family members. The formal protocol that governed many royal gatherings seemed to melt away at Sandringham. Here, Charles was primarily a grandfather, delighting in his grandchildren's excitement about Christmas activities. Camilla was the grandmother figure, helping to organize games and activities for the younger family members. The traditional afternoon tea became an opportunity for the family to reconnect after busy schedules had kept them apart for weeks. The drawing room filled with conversations about upcoming events, shared memories, and plans for the holiday celebrations. William noticed how naturally his children interacted with their extended family, switching effortlessly between English and the occasional French phrase they had been learning with their tutors. As evening approached, the family gathered for their first formal dinner of the Christmas celebration. The dining room had been decorated with holly and ivy gathered from the estate grounds, creating an atmosphere that felt both elegant and homey. Catherine had worked with the household staff to ensure that the menu reflected both traditional favorites and some modern touches that appealed to the children. The conversation during dinner revealed the depth of planning that had gone into this year's Christmas statement. Family members shared their thoughts about what aspects of their celebration might resonate most with the public. There was unanimous agreement that people wanted to see the human side of royal life, particularly during the holidays when family connections felt most important to everyone. Queen Camilla suggested including information about the estate's charitable activities during the Christmas season. "People appreciate knowing that we're thinking about our community," she observed. The Sandringham estate had a long tradition of supporting local charities and organizations, particularly during the winter months when needs were greatest. This year, the family had expanded their charitable giving to include organizations that supported families facing economic challenges. The children's bedtime routine provided another glimpse into the family's attempt to maintain normalcy despite their unique circumstances. Catherine read Christmas stories to the younger children, while William helped George with a project he was creating as a gift for his grandfather. These quiet moments, away from public attention, reminded both parents why protecting their family's privacy remained so important. After the children were settled for the night, the adults returned to the library for what had become a cherished tradition, sharing stories from past Christmases and discussing hopes for the coming year. The room, lined with books collected by generations of royals, provided the perfect setting for these intimate conversations. The fire crackled in the grate, while family members shared memories that ranged from funny mishaps to deeply meaningful moments. William spoke about his memories of Christmas mornings with his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. He described how she had always seemed to know exactly what gift would bring the most joy to each family member, regardless of their age. "She had this amazing ability to make everyone feel special," he recalled. Even with such a large family, she somehow made each person feel like they were her favorite grandchild in that moment. Catherine shared her own reflections on joining the royal family and learning its Christmas traditions. "I was initially nervous about fitting in," she admitted, "but I quickly realized that at its heart, this is just a family that loves spending time together during the holidays. The locations might be grander than most, but the feelings are exactly the same as any family gathering." The conversation turned to their decision to be more open about their Christmas celebrations. In previous years, the royal family had shared only the most basic information about their holiday plans. This year's decision to provide more detailed insights represented a significant shift in their approach to public communication. They wanted people to understand that behind the formal titles and official duties, they experienced the same joys and challenges as families everywhere. Princess Anne contributed her perspective on the balance between privacy and openness. "People have supported us through some very difficult times," she noted. "Sharing these happier moments feels like the right way to show our appreciation." Her words carried particular weight given her reputation for straightforward communication and her decades of royal service. The planning session continued late into the evening as they refined the details of their Christmas statement. They decided to include information about their church attendance, their traditional Christmas Day walk, and some of the games and activities that had become family favorites. Most importantly, they wanted to convey their gratitude for the public's continued support and their hope that their own family's happiness during the holidays might bring joy to others. Catherine suggested including a reference to the estate's history and the many royal generations who had celebrated Christmas at Sandringham. "It feels important to acknowledge that we're part of a continuing story," she said. "These traditions connect us to the past while creating memories for the future." This sense of historical continuity had become increasingly important to both William and Catherine as they considered their role in preparing the next generation for royal responsibilities. The library conversation also addressed some of the challenges the family had faced during the past year. Without dwelling on difficult moments, they acknowledged that the support they had received during tough times made their current happiness feel even more precious. The Christmas gathering represented not just a holiday celebration, but a moment of renewal and hope for the future. As the evening wound down, family members began making their way to their respective rooms. The guest wings of Sandringham had been prepared with the same attention to detail that characterized all aspects of the estate's hospitality. Each room had been decorated with fresh flowers and personal touches that made even short-term visitors feel welcomed and valued. William and Catherine took a final walk through the main floor of the house, checking on preparations for the next day while enjoying a few quiet moments together. The Christmas tree dominated the drawing room, its lights creating a warm glow that extended into the hallway. Beneath its branches, carefully wrapped presents had begun to accumulate, each one chosen with thought and care for its intended recipient. The couple paused in the morning room where they had begun their day. Through the windows, they could see the estate grounds bathed in moonlight, peaceful and beautiful in the winter night. Tomorrow would bring the continuation of traditions that stretched back generations, but it would also mark the creation of new memories for their own children. Their Christmas statement had evolved throughout the day from a simple announcement to a heartfelt message about family, tradition, and gratitude. They had found ways to share meaningful details about their celebration while maintaining the privacy that remained essential for their family's well-being. The balance felt right, honoring both their public responsibilities and their personal needs. As they made their way upstairs, both William and Catherine felt a sense of satisfaction about the day's accomplishments. They had successfully brought together family members from different generations and various royal responsibilities, creating an atmosphere that felt both respectful of tradition and genuinely joyful. Tomorrow would bring the public aspects of their Christmas celebration, but tonight belonged entirely to family. Christmas morning dawned clear and bright over Sandringham estate, with frost painting intricate patterns on the windows of the historic house. Catherine woke early, drawn by the sound of excited whispers coming from the children's rooms. The royal family's Christmas day had officially begun, and with it came the culmination of weeks of careful planning for both private celebration and public sharing. The family's morning routine unfolded with the careful choreography that had developed over years of Christmas celebrations. The children were allowed to open their stockings before the formal gift exchange, a tradition that created magical moments of pure childhood joy despite the grandeur of their surroundings. Catherine captured these precious moments in her memory, knowing that they would treasure these images long after the decorations were packed away. William joined his family in the morning room, where the Christmas tree stood surrounded by carefully arranged presents. The gift exchange followed the Germanic tradition established by Queen Victoria, with each family member taking turns to open presents while others watched and shared in the excitement. This methodical approach ensured that everyone received proper attention and that no special moment was rushed or overlooked. King Charles presented his grandchildren with gifts that reflected both thoughtfulness and his hope for their futures. For Prince George, he had chosen books about environmental conservation and sustainable farming, subjects that had become increasingly important to the king throughout his life. Princess Charlotte received art supplies and a beautiful illustrated book about influential women throughout history. Prince Louis's gifts focused on exploration and discovery, including a child-friendly telescope for stargazing. The children's gifts to their grandparents and parents revealed the care with which they had been guided in learning the joy of giving. George had created a detailed drawing of Sandringham estate, complete with all the family's favorite locations marked and labeled. Charlotte had written and illustrated a story about a princess who solved problems through kindness rather than magic. Louis, with help from his siblings, had assembled a photo album of their favorite family moments from the past year. Catherine's gifts to family members reflected her thoughtful observation of their interests and needs. For King Charles, she had commissioned a special photograph album documenting the environmental improvements made at Sandringham during the past year. Queen Camilla received a beautiful scarf designed by a sustainable fashion designer, along with a selection of books by female authors that Catherine thought she would enjoy. The morning's gift exchange provided perfect material for the family's planned public statement. These genuine moments of family connection would help people understand that despite the formal aspects of royal life, the Christmas celebration centered on the same values that mattered to families everywhere: love, thoughtfulness, and the joy of seeing others happy. After breakfast, the family began preparing for their traditional walk to St. Mary Magdalene Church for the Christmas morning service. This public appearance had become one of the most anticipated aspects of the royal Christmas, offering people a chance to see the family together while participating in the religious observance that remained central to their holiday celebration. Catherine chose her outfit carefully, selecting colors that would photograph well while remaining appropriate for church attendance. Her choice of a deep emerald green coat reflected both festive spirit and respect for the solemnity of the religious service. The children's clothing had been selected with equal care, ensuring they would be comfortable during the walk while looking appropriately dressed for the occasion. The walk to church provided numerous opportunities for interaction with the crowd of well-wishers who had gathered along the route. William and Catherine had always appreciated this chance to connect directly with people, accepting flowers and Christmas greetings while ensuring their children experienced the warmth of public support. These interactions reinforced their understanding of why sharing details about their Christmas celebration mattered to so many people. Princess Charlotte charmed onlookers by accepting a small bouquet of winter flowers from a young girl in the crowd, while Prince George walked with the confident bearing that suggested his growing understanding of his future role. Prince Louis brought smiles to many faces with his natural curiosity about everything around him. From the church bells to the decorative wreaths that adorned the historic building, the church service itself provided a moment of reflection and gratitude for the royal family. The familiar hymns and traditional prayers offered continuity with past celebrations, while acknowledging the unique blessings of the present moment. Catherine found herself particularly moved by the Christmas message, which emphasized themes of hope, renewal, and the importance of community support during challenging times. Following the service, the family's return walk to Sandringham allowed for additional public interaction. Catherine noticed how naturally her children had learned to engage with people, showing genuine interest in the greetings they received while maintaining appropriate composure. These skills would serve them well throughout their lives, but seeing them develop naturally rather than through forced instruction pleased both parents enormously. The afternoon brought the release of their carefully crafted Christmas statement to the public. The communications team coordinated the announcement to coincide with the family's return from church, ensuring that the images and message would reach the widest possible audience during the holiday period. The statement struck the perfect balance between sharing meaningful details and maintaining appropriate privacy. The public response to their Christmas update exceeded all expectations. Social media filled with positive reactions from people who appreciated the glimpse into the family's celebration. Comments focused on the relatability of their traditions, the obvious happiness of the children, and the sense that the royal family genuinely valued the same things that mattered to families throughout the kingdom. The afternoon Christmas dinner represented the culmination of the estate's careful preparation. The dining room had been set with the finest china and crystal, but the atmosphere remained relaxed and family-focused. The menu combined traditional British Christmas fare with some modern touches that reflected the family's evolving tastes and dietary preferences. During dinner, conversation naturally turned to reflections on the day's success. Family members shared their observations about the public's positive response to their Christmas sharing. There was unanimous agreement that the decision to be more open about their celebration had been worthwhile, creating connections with people while preserving the privacy that remained essential for family well-being. The children's excitement about sharing their Christmas with the public surprised and delighted the adults. Prince George expressed particular pleasure that people seemed happy to see their family enjoying the holidays. Princess Charlotte mentioned that she hoped their Christmas pictures would make other children smile. These innocent observations reminded the adults that openness and connection could be natural rather than calculated. As evening approached, the family gathered in the library for what had become a cherished Christmas tradition, sharing hopes and dreams for the coming year. Each family member, including the children, contributed thoughts about what they wanted to accomplish and experience in the months ahead. These conversations helped strengthen family bonds while encouraging individual growth and aspiration. Catherine reflected on the day's success in balancing their public responsibilities with private family time. The Christmas statement had achieved its goal of sharing joy with the public, while the actual celebration had remained authentically focused on family connection. This balance represented exactly what she and William had hoped to achieve when they decided to be more open about their holiday traditions. The children's bedtime routine on Christmas night included extra time for reflecting on the day's special moments. Catherine read additional Christmas stories while William helped each child think about their favorite parts of the celebration. These quiet conversations revealed how much the children had absorbed about the importance of gratitude, family connection, and sharing happiness with others. As the adults settled in for their final Christmas evening together, they spent time reviewing photographs from throughout the day. The images captured both formal moments and candid family interactions, creating a visual record that would preserve these precious memories for years to come. Some photos would be shared with the public in follow-up communications, while others would remain treasured private keepsakes. The success of their Christmas sharing had implications that extended far beyond the holiday season. It demonstrated that the royal family could maintain dignity and privacy while offering meaningful glimpses into their personal lives. This approach would likely influence their future communication strategy, helping them build stronger connections with the public while protecting what needed to remain private. William and Catherine ended their Christmas day with a quiet walk through the estate grounds, enjoying the peaceful beauty of the winter landscape while reflecting on all they had to be grateful for. The day had exceeded their hopes in every respect, creating beautiful memories for their family while sharing joy with people throughout the kingdom and beyond. Their Christmas statement had accomplished something remarkable. It had made the royal family feel more human and relatable while preserving the dignity and respect that their position required. The careful balance they had achieved would serve as a model for future holiday celebrations and public communications, proving that openness and privacy could coexist successfully.